Hello everyone, in this video we will discuss cell theory, extension of cell theory, size, shape and number of the cells. Now let us begin with cell theory. It was proposed by two scientists. Name of those two scientists is M.J. Schleiden and Theodor Schwann. These two scientists are German biologists. M.J. Schleiden, he was a botanist. In the year of 1838, he was working on plant cell structure and its components. Whereas in the year of 1839, Th. Schwann was working on animal cell structure and he was a zoologist. These two scientists combinedly proposed cell theory, and in this cell theory they explained some characteristic feature of cell and how living organisms are made up of and the different functions performed by the cell. Now let us take some salient features explained by M.J. Schleiden and Theodor Schwann under cell theory. Salient features of cell theory. Here these two scientists said that all organisms are made up of cells. They said cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Activities of an organism are the sum total of activities of its cells. And they also said that a cell is mass of protoplasm having nucleus. Cells are similar in basic structure and metabolism. These two scientists said that cells arises de novo or spontaneously, which means the new cells arises spontaneously or suddenly. Actually, these two scientists missed that from where does the new cells are forming. They simply said that new cells are arising spontaneously. So actually this is a mistake done by the Schleiden and Schwann, and it was corrected by Rudolfvirchow in the year of 1855, and he extended this cell theory by adding a Latin statement, that is omnis cellula e cellula. Now let me write extension of cell theory. It was proposed by Rudolfvirchow or Virchow in the year of 1855, extended cell theory by giving a Latin statement omnis cellula e cellula. It means all new cells arises from pre-existing cells. M.J. Schleiden and Theodor Schwann said the new cells arises spontaneously, but actually the new cells are arising from the pre-existing cells. For example, when we met with injury, if skin is lost in that particular hand or in the leg, after several days formation of new skin take place. That means skin is a type of epithelial tissue which is made up of many cells. And from where does that last part is arising? That last part arises from the pre-existing cells. But here M.J. Schleiden and Theodor Schwann said that the new cells arises spontaneously. It was a mistake, right? And it was corrected by Virchow. Later on, Louis Pasteur in France gave experimental evidence to the Virchow's extension of cell theory. After this extension of cell theory, it is known as cell doctrine or modern cell theory. Here Rudolfvirchow said that all new cells arises from pre-existing cells, and he also said that cell is the basic structural, functional and biological unit of life, and he also said that a cell is a mass of protoplasm having nucleus. Cells are similar in basic structure and metabolism. Now let us take some exceptions of cell theory. Bacteria does not fall under this cell theory. What is the reason for this? Because bacteria does not have well-defined nucleus. And there is another example, viruses. Viruses also do not follow the cell theory because viruses are acellular structures. That means they do not have cell membrane, cytoplasm, no other cell components. This is why they are called as acellular structures. And we know that they are called as neither living nor non-living. They act as the living things only inside the host body. They are also called as obligatory parasites. And here they shows the characteristic feature of both living and non-living. So living is like when they are present inside the host body, they multiply their number by using the cellular machinery of the host body, causes diseases. But when they present outside the host body, they are in the form of crystals, that is non-living character. This is why we can say that viruses are connecting link between living and non-living things. And sir, how can you say that these two organisms are exceptions of cell theory? According to cell theory, a cell must consist of cell membrane, cytoplasm, well-defined nucleus. Well-defined nucleus means what, sir? A nucleus must contain nuclear membrane, nucleoplasm, genetic material, nucleolus, right? So then such type of cell is called as true cell. But the bacteria generally called as cells, but it does not follow the cell theory because it does not possess well-defined nucleus. Genetic material in bacterial cell does not covered by the nuclear membrane. It is just freely suspended in the cytoplasm. Now let me talk about size, shape and number of the cells. In this, let us discuss one by one. The first one is size of cells. Sir, here do all cells are in same size? No, different cells are in different sizes. Now let us talk about largest animal cells and plant cells, longest cell, smallest cell. So we can discuss all these different type of cells under this size of cells. Now let me write the first one, largest cells. In animals, largest cell is the ostrich egg, which is about 15 centimeters. Look at this. This is the ostrich egg. Largest cell in plants is acetabularia, which is about 5 to 10 centimeters. Sir, what is acetabularia? Yes, here itself I said type of plants. Actually, it is a type of algae. Sir, are algae plants? Yes, algae are also type of plants, but algae body is not well differentiated into roots, stems and leaves. It possesses chlorophyll like higher plants, but it does not possess roots, stems and leaves. So algae are also a type of plants, but their body is not well differentiated, hence they are called as primitive plants. In plants, largest cells are acetabularia, but actually the recently discovered one is longer than this acetabularia in plants, that is Caulerpa taxifolia, which is about 3 to 15 centimeters. It is also a type of algae. Now let us see the longest cell in animals is nerve cell, which is about 90 centimeters long. So approximately 1 meter long. And in plants, longest cells are plant fibers. The other one is smallest cell. Smallest cell is the bacterial cell. Name of that bacterium is Mycoplasma gallisepticum. It is also known as PPLO. Full form of PPLO is a pleuropneumonia-like organism. Mycoplasma gallisepticum is the smallest living cell, but actually the smallest cells are viruses, because viruses are smaller than the bacteria. And here Smallest living cell size ranges between 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers in diameter. Let me write here 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers in diameter. This is the smallest cell size range. And so then what is the size of this Mycoplasma gallisepticum? The Mycoplasma gallisepticum size is 0.3 micrometers in diameter. But actually the smallest cells are viruses. They are smaller than the bacteria. Now let us talk about normal size of human cells. The human cell size ranges between 20 micrometers to 30 micrometers in diameter. Smallest cell in human males are sperm cells. Largest cell in human females is egg or ovum. Let us talk about size of two organisms like elephant versus humans. So when we look at the elephant and humans, generally which one is bigger? Elephant is bigger than the humans, which means is elephant possess large sized cells? No, because of it possesses more number of cells than the humans. Elephant is bigger than the humans. So from this discussion we can take a statement that is size of the organisms does not depend on size of the cells. It majorly depends upon the number of cells present in it. So this is about size of the cells. The second one is shape of the cells. Sir, here do all the cells are in same shape? No, different cells are in different shapes. Now let me show you the different cells from the human body. Look at this picture. So these are all various cells from the human body. This is the smooth muscle cell, and these are all the blood cells, the red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, human nerve cell or neuron cell, and this is bone cell, this is the fat cell, ovum or egg, sperm cell. So these are all various cells from the human body. Look at these different type of cells from human body. Are all these cells are in same shape? No, different cells are in different shapes. For example, if you talk about these smooth muscle cells, they appear in spindle shape. Next, this fat cell appear in elliptical shape, ellipsis. It looks like an elliptical shape. And a sperm cell, it is with oval head with a tail. Ovum appear in spherical, whereas the nerve cell, it is elongated, structured with branches on both the sides. And red blood cells are in discoidal shape. Next, white blood cells are in irregular shape. Similarly, if you see some unicellular organisms like amoeba, it appear irregular shape. It does not have a specific shape. Next, paramecium, it appear in slipper shape. So like that, different cells are in different shapes. Now let me write one by one. The nerve cell appear in elongated branched. Mature mammalian RBCs appear in discoidal or saucer shape or biconcave shape. Smooth muscle cells appear in spindle shape. pigment cells of the skin are in branched egg or ovum. It is in spherical. Germ cells of gonads. Here gonads are of two types, that is in males testis, whereas in females ovaries. Cells of testis and ovaries appear in cuboidal. The next one, unicellular organism like amoeba appears in irregular shape. There is no definite shape. Next, paramecium appears in slipper. As it appears in slipper shape, it is also called as a slipper animalcule. And if we see some other cells in our body like white blood cells, they appear in irregular. So white blood cells do not have definite shape. Like amoeba, white blood cells can also change their shape. Hence, you can say that white blood cells are in amoeboidal shape. Liver cells appear in polygonal shape. Bone cells appear in stellate, look like a star over here. This one. Next, fat cells appear in elliptical shape. Sir, here why is the various cells of the living organisms in different shapes? Here actually cells are in different shapes due to the specific function they perform. For example, if we take nerve cell, shape of the nerve cell is in elongated branched and its function is transfer of impulses from one part to another part in our body. So if it is in elongated branched, it can carry the quick information from one part to another part, so that functions can be done quickly. Instead of elongated branched, if cell is in oval shape or spherical shape, we would require more number of cells than the cells present in our body right now, and it may take longer period of time to carry information from one part to another part. For example, if we touch any hot object, so immediately thermoreceptors present in the skin receives that information and send it to the sensory neurons. So immediately the sensory neurons will carry that information to the central nervous system, that is either to the brain or to the spinal cord. So accordingly, brain or spinal cord will send motor response to the effector region through the another type of neurons. So as here neurons are in elongated branched, they can carry the quick information. So instead of elongated branched, if neurons are in spherical shape, it will take longer time. By the time what happens, hand may get damaged. So this is one example we can discuss, that shape of the cells mainly depends upon the specific function it performs. Shape of the cells mainly depends upon the specific function it performs. So for this we can take example nerve cell. Due to the presence of this elongated branched shape, it transfer information quickly. Here we can take another example also, that is RBCs. In humans, mature red blood cells are in discoidal or biconcave shape. Generally, the blood cells formation takes place in the bone marrow. Before their maturation, they are in spherical or oval shape, and slowly when they are undergoing the complete maturation, they lose their nucleus and all other cell organelles and increases the surface area to increase oxygen binding capacity with hemoglobin. So here, by losing its nucleus and all other cell organelles, red blood cells achieves biconcave shape or discoidal shape. Red blood cells are in discoidal or biconcave shape to increase oxygen binding capacity with hemoglobin. Mature mammalian RBCs loses their nucleus and cell organelles and assumes biconcave or disc shape. Here we just need to remember that one molecule of hemoglobin can combine with 4 molecules of oxygen. Finally, it forms the oxyhemoglobin. See here, hemoglobin is the respiratory pigment. To increase this oxygen binding capacity with hemoglobin, mature mammalian RBCs are losing their nucleus and cell organelles, assuming biconcave or discoidal shape. So from this we can say that shape of the cell mainly depends upon the specific function it performs. After this, let us talk about number of cells. Based on the presence of number of cells, living organisms are classified into two types, that is unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Now let us talk about the differences between unicellular and multicellular organisms. Here in unicellular organisms, they are made up of a single cell. Actually the term uni, which means single, whereas in multicellular organisms the term multi, which means many. Here unicellular organisms are made up of a single cell, whereas multicellular organisms are made up of many cells. Here in unicellular organisms, the single cell is able to perform all life processes such as respiration, digestion, excretion, growth, reproduction, etc. All these life processes are carried out by a single cell. But in case of multicellular organisms, different cells in different organs and organ systems carry out different functions. Here we need to remember, in multicellular organisms all cells have similar basic structure and function. From this we can say that the unicellular organisms do not show division of labor. In unicellular organisms, division of labor is absent because the whole organism is made up of a single cell, and that single cell is capable of carry out its all life processes. But in case of multicellular organisms, in different organs and organ systems, the cells carry out different functions, so that we can say multicellular organisms shows division of labor, which means work divided by the different type of cells, that is similar or dissimilar type of cells. And here if you see an important statement regarding multicellular organisms, their life also starts with a single cell zygote. For example, if you take human life, starts with a single cell, that is zygote. Now let us take examples. First let me write here examples of unicellular organisms like amoeba, paramecium, bacteria, euglena, chlamydomonas. It is a unicellular algae. Yeast is unicellular fungi. Whereas amoeba and paramecium, these two are unicellular protozoans. And examples of multicellular organisms: humans, plants, animals, all fungi except yeast. So this is about cell theory, extension of cell theory, size, shape and number of cells.